Hello and welcome to the Hedoknits podcast. I am Talitha. I am the head Hedoknits, and I am here to share with you the pure pleasure and joy of knitting and collecting yarn. I live in Saskatchewan, Canada. I live rurally, so I don't have a local knitting group, people that I can get together with. So I hope that we can come together here and share some of that pleasure together. As I mentioned, I live rurally on a little piece of land with my husband and my son and our tripod dog and a few cats. There's 3 cats out there right now. Sometimes the number fluctuates if we get some strays in, but it's a beautiful life that I have, and knitting is a huge part of that life. General overview of how we'll be proceeding. I will go into what I've finished recently. Then, of course, we'll talk about my works in progress. After that, we will go into a unique segment that I'm going to call Flashback, where we go, with every podcast, we'll go through projects that I've completed in the past that you will not have seen and what I've taken away from those projects in terms of skills or things I enjoyed, other unique things. Following that, I will talk about project planning. So I'll walk you through the process I took for planning a particular project and choosing colors, etc. And finally, we'll go with stash pleasure. So this is stash enhancement. This can also be shop my stash if I have a project that I need to do that for, because I do have a nice size stash with a varied it's got a depth of things to choose from. So first off, I'll tell you what I'm wearing. This is the Burrow cardigan. This is by Fable Knitwear. I finished this. This is a 2020 finish, and it's knit in Knit Picks City Tweed DK. This is a gorgeous yarn. It's a non-superwash merino alpaca blend with the little naps, the viscose naps. You can see there. It's also got these blousey sleeves here. And it ends at my natural waist. I'll stand up and show you. I'm really happy with it. I have not yet blocked it. I usually do always wet block before I consider anything truly finished. But this one, I just like the way that it wore unblocked. So I'm going to wear it like that for a while, and then we'll give her a soak and a block and see how it is after that. I did block my swatch, so I know that the fabric's not going to change a whole lot. It does relax a bit because of that alpaca, but it holds its structure also well because of the non-superwash merino wool. The buttons I have on here, give you a close-up of those. They say handmade with love. Now these are just little wooden buttons that I ordered off Amazon. Let's see. They came in this case. And as you can see, there's all sorts of sizes. They're a nice sturdy thickness. You can see there. I don't know. I just wanted something to have here as a spare button for when I needed them for projects. Of course, I can always switch out the button if there's something I come across that I prefer better for this. I do have a little button bag, but as I needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, I didn't really have anything that was the right size for this project, so I went with these buttons. They're nice to have too for my gift knitting. And I always like to include one of my little tags, so I've got that on here too. And yeah, I've been enjoying wearing it. It is extremely warm. All the alpaca fiber and the non-superwash merino really trap in the body heat. So even though it's got this beautiful open, it's almost like I would consider it like a portrait neckline on here. I find it really flattering. Even though it's got that big open neckline, it still is very warm, which is key because I live in Canada and we had a pretty good winter this year, but typically it gets pretty cold. It's not unheard of to have quite a few days of -40, or even this year we had into the -50s with the wind chill. Basically what that is when the wind blows, and I get a lot of wind at my house specifically. When the wind blows, it chills down the temperature even further. And so I don't know what that would be Fahrenheit, but I know 40 is about equal to 40 Celsius to Fahrenheit. So colder than that, most people probably can't imagine what that would be like. If you have felt -40 or -50, either way, Celsius or Fahrenheit, drop a snowflake down below in the comments. And if you haven't, and you're one of the lucky few that haven't, drop a sunshine down in the comments. Yeah, it's wild. Anyways, happy to have this. Have been wearing it a lot. It's got a nice raglan sleeve. It's knit bottom up, but it's still seamless essentially, right? Because it's knit bottom up, back and forth, and then when you get to the armpits, you start to do the decreases. Oh, you do knit the sleeves separately, but you join them together at that point and carry on, and the button band is knit separately. It knit up really quick. It's a DK weight sweater. So that's that. So let's go into finished items. This is the only thing I've finished in the last week. I've been knitting hard on a few different things, but this was my most recent finished make. This is the Leanie hat from Isabel Kramer. It is a free pattern. I should mention this is a paid for pattern, this cardigan, but this hat is a free pattern. It's got this beautiful stitch pattern on there and little bobbles. Yeah. And I've knit it out of Hypothesis single ply fingering. It's a merino wool single ply in the colorway Elk Island. I got this last year, I believe. And then I've held it with a strand of mohair. This is a mohair silk blend from Knit Picks in the colorway Kenai, Kenai. Yeah, I took a little bit of time to knit the brim because it is a doubled brim. It's got the ribbing there. You do a provisional cast on, knit the ribbing, knit for stockinette, and then you fold it over and knit the two together. So it is seamless, but you do have to do the provisional cast on. I just did the crocheted provisional cast on. It's not really crocheted, but you do use a crochet hook, so you will need one for that. Like I mentioned, I included one of my little tags there. On the back, it has the year that I knitted, 2020. Put it on here for you so you can see what it looks like. It's just a really nice, tight-fitting beanie style toque. So I didn't put a pom on it because it is nice and tight, close to my head. Of course, I can change in the future. If I want to put a pom on, I will. But it's very warm. The mohair makes it very warm, and especially with this double brim right around your ear area, it helps a lot with to keep the wind at bay. I have worn this since I finished it. The bobbles on it, in the pattern, they're listed as an option. At first I wasn't sure, but now I kind of like them. The only thing about them is I haven't quite, this is my second project that I've knit bobbles in, and I haven't quite found how to do them so that I'm happy with them. A lot of people have a problem with them falling into their knitting. I wouldn't say that that's my problem. I find they're almost more like, they look more like a nipple than a bobble sometimes. You know, they're kind of odd shaped and flat as our nipples sometimes can be. So yeah, I don't know. That's something I need to work on, is making my bobbles a little bit better. It's just a simple decrease on the crown. I would recommend knitting this. It's definitely, the pattern is definitely Hedoknits approved. So yeah, it has been wet blocked. Didn't do a whole lot for it in terms of growing, even though it's a single ply, because the mohair gave it a little bit more structure. But it did help to flatten out this brim. It was kind of, you know, thicker at the bottom, puffier, I guess you'd say. So that's done, and it's going to put away in my closet. Next, let's talk about works in progress. So I have quite a few works in progress right now, more than I prefer to have. I like to have about 4, give or take, at any one time. So that's usually a garment, a gift, or a hat, something, you know, that's a little bit more straightforward, because I don't do very complicated gift knitting. It's just, I don't find it's worth it. And then I would do a garment, a gift, a shawl, or a scarf, and then I have kind of a free-for-all category. So that could be another gift if it's heavy, like getting closer to Christmas time, or that could be a second garment for me, or you name it. So this year, I haven't really been sticking to that. I think I have about 8 or 9 on the go right now. Not all of those are being actively knitted on, but they have been cast on. I try not to be, I don't want to say wasteful, but I try to be mindful that I'm not letting whips and the yarn associated with them just sit and rot. I have done that in the past, and it makes me uncomfortable now. So those all will get knit, or they'll get frogged. I just frogged one recently that had been sitting for quite a few months, and I wasn't really getting anywhere on it, which told me that it wasn't exciting me. So if I'm not going to get pleasure out of it, it was gone. So I frogged out the yarn, and hopefully I'd still like to knit both the yarn and the project, but just not together. I digress. So I'm just going to go through a handful, not even a handful, 3 of the whips that I have on the go right now with you. The first one is citrine. Now citrine is something that I am knitting as part of the Malabrigo March knit along that's hosted on Ravelry. There's also a hashtag for it. It's Malabrigo March 2020. So feel free to look that up. Basically it's in the Malabrigo Junkies group on Ravelry, and I had wanted to knit this sweater. I'll show you. It's from Making Stories, the Jewels issue, and that's it right on the cover. I'll show you. Also have another picture. So basically it's just meant to be a boxy cropped sweater, full-length sleeves, and has kind of these architectural details at the yoke. And I really loved it. I loved the photography in that book, but the sweater was just kind of something that I didn't have in my sweater collection. So this is how far I've gotten. This is the back panel. It is knit in pieces and then seamed together. So I have knit up to where it's starting into the yoke detailing and shaping. So I haven't gotten very far. I probably won't finish this in time for the knit along. You don't have to do a sweater. I was gonna make this sweater anyways, and I wanted to make it out of this yarn. So I figured I'll throw my hat in the ring for the knit along. This yarn is stunning. It's this beautiful kind of a teal with green. I am alternating skeins. I don't always do that, but with Malabrigo specifically, I found that you will get big blocks because they're kettle dyed and they're not always similar. I think I would have been okay with this particular batch, but better safe than sorry. So this is Malabrigo Rios in 809 Solis. And as you can see, it's just Malabrigo yarn is so beautiful, and this is no exception. It's a nice round, springy, bouncy, 100% merino yarn. It is a nice, I would say it's a nice average worsted. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's just it might be going more towards the Aran side, but I love it. I would 100% knit with this yarn again. It's definitely Hedoknits approved. The nicest thing about it is when I washed it, when I did my wet block of the swatch, the water didn't run, like the dye didn't run into the water at all. There was no dye run. So with a color like this, that can sometimes be tough. So I really appreciated that. So yeah, we'll see how far I get before the end of the month. I'm not going to kill myself to get it done. I'm kind of feeling a little bit knit along weary, even though I'm still joining new ones all the time, but I always do my best. I usually do pretty well in getting things finished in the time allotted, but whatever. I think that's it on this one. This is a paid for pattern because you do have to purchase the whole book. I think you have to purchase the whole book that it's in. But I know there was another sweater in there that I really wanted to knit too, so I might have just purchased the whole book because of that. But you might be able to get the pattern separate. I'm not sure. You could take a look. So that's citrine. Next, I will talk about socks. When I first learned to knit over 15 years ago, I didn't do it properly. I taught myself, and it ended up, long story short, I knit all my stitches twisted because I was knitting into the back loop. So that meant that whenever I did anything circular knitted, because I was knitting into the back loop constantly, it just got tighter and tighter and tighter and more biased. So socks were not really my thing. They never have been. I have a fair amount of self-striping sock yarn. That I have some that's older, some that's newer, and I really wanted to give it a go again. So I picked one out that I liked from my stash. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply, and it is in the peacock colorway. So that is, I'll give you the number because not everybody lists it. I mean, on the ball band it doesn't say peacock. 851 is the color number. So this is a fingering weight wool, and it's 100 gram. They come in 100 gram balls, which is like a ton. I have size 5.5 feet, so it doesn't take much to make a sock for me, but I did have a lot of minis to use up. I purchased a mini advent calendar I've got my second sock. Better not pull this too far. It's attached. I purchased a mini advent calendar for Christmas, and so I do have yarn. I finished my advent project, but I do have yarn to use up from that. So I chose to do a contrast heel toe cuff out of this blue yarn. This is from Tammy Wee Colors. She is a dyer based out of Germany. And I do have one sock completed. I have really skinny small heels. I was going to try the strong heel because another podcast that I watched, it had come highly recommended. But when I got to the heel and then I was trying to figure out how to do it with the contrast color, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then I started doing some more research and discovered that can be more of a roomy heel. And as I mentioned, I have these tiny little heels, so I thought, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board and find something different. So I ended up going with the peasant heel. I put in the waist yarn, and then after I was complete everything, I picked up my stitches and knit the heel. I did, of course, have to Kitchener it closed. I'm really happy with the way my Kitchener turned out there. I can't even see where it is. Maybe you can on the camera, but really happy with the heel. Happy with the way the stripes worked up. It is a bit big. I didn't use a pattern per se. I had this book in my library, Simple Socks by Priscilla A. Gibson Roberts, and in this book, I won't show you, but it's got a chart, and the chart maps out guidelines for average fit for different sizes at different gauges. So what I did is I knit a gauge swatch out of this yarn, and I measured the gauge, I looked it up in the chart, and then I cast on. I have wide feet too, but short, so I cast on the number of stitches for the medium size listed in here, and then I knit more for the length of the small sock. Now, it is a little, it's not sloppy, but it doesn't have the negative ease that I imagine a sock should have. So I think next time I knit socks, which I will again, I will cast on for the small this time. I think there's 4 stitches different, so I would be fine with that. So like I said, I didn't use a pattern. I just cast on according to that book. And then I just did an inch of this 4x, I think it's a 4x2 rib, just because I did the thumb method cast on. I don't think I would do that one again, but at least it's nice and stretchy. The toe is special. There is an interweave blog post that goes into different toes that you can knit. So basically, from that blog post, I knit, it's a modified half and half wedge toe. So basically, you knit at a higher rate of increases across the side of your foot, and then at a lower rate of increases along your big toe side. So the left sock and the right sock will be different from one another. This was like the right choice to make. It knits my foot. It fits my foot pretty well. So yeah, that's exciting. I have the first one done, and I have cast on for the second one. I am just working on the ribbing now. You can see I'm using Chagu mini circular. Honestly, here's some real talk. I do not enjoy knitting at this small of circumference. So I don't think I'll ever be like a crazy sock knitter, but I've tried everything. I've tried 2 circular needles, I've tried magic loop, I've tried DPNs, and now I've tried the mini small circumference needles. It's awkward in my hands. I have small hands, but I don't know if it's my style of knitting, I'm an English knitter, or what it is, but I mean, I'll do them, but there's things that I probably prefer to knit over that. So yeah, that's my sock. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should tell you about that. I don't think so. If you have any questions, just drop them below or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, the next thing, last whip I'll show you today, it is the On the Beach sweater. This is another Isabel Kramer pattern. This is also a free pattern. So if you're looking for just a simple sweater pattern, it's a V-neck with a kind of a set-in sleeve. The set-in sleeve was developed by, it says here on the pattern, Susie Myers. It's called a contiguous set-in sleeve, and it's a beautiful sleeve. I definitely see myself reusing this sweater pattern for future sweaters. It's just got a nice, natural, gentle A-line shape at the bottom. You could knit, any length sleeve you want, really. But I've chosen to do mine in a stripe, which is the way the pattern was originally written. I am using knit picks again. I knit high and low. My whole style is high versus low mashed together. I wear a lot of higher end designer items, but I like to mix them with thrift store finds or vintage finds, and that's how I make my wardrobe sustainable, because I prefer to purchase quality items, but at a price I can afford. So yeah, this is Knit Picks Galileo. It is a sport weight, And it's a gorgeous mix of 50% merino wool, non-superwash, and 50% viscose. I have it here in the colors quartz and what's the other one? Titan. And they're just these beautiful. I had this idea. I wanted to do this color with this color in something. And so when there was a sale, I picked up a sorter's quantity of these two. And I think I'm going to have way more than enough. So probably be able to do something else with them also. But I am so close to being finished. It's kind of been sitting, languishing a bit, but you can see there's a nice v-neck. So you knit, it's knit from the top down. So you do have to join your two, you knit, you know, the sides, and then you do have to join them together. But I don't know. It's beautiful. It feels great on. I have tried it on, as it has been knit all the way to the bottom of the body. I think I'm going to rip this ribbing out. The pattern doesn't include ribbing. It's supposed to be like a rolled hem. Not really my style. So I knit ribbing, but I forgot to change to a smaller needle. When I did it, it's a twisted rib. Forgot to change to the smaller needle, so it's kind of floppy. So I'll probably end up ripping that out when I'm done the sleeves. But I am I've measured where I want the sleeves to go to, and they're gonna go down to the bottom. I found this body length was nice, and then the sleeve length to the same length will be perfect, because this I did wet block my swatch. This yarn does not change a whole lot in a wet block, so that's kind of nice. It's nice to know that the fabric that you've knit up and the size that you've knit up will stay the same once you've blocked. So that's kind of cool. So as you can see, I'm just on my last stripe of color here, and then I'll be done the first sleeve, and then we'll pick up this second sleeve and carry on, and then probably go back and redo the ribbing. It does have a few increases near the bottom for, like I said, to create a bit of an A-line shape. It's got a faux seam on the side to give it some additional structure. The nice thing about that is too, when you're switching your colors, it gives you something to weave your yarn into. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this. I'm looking forward to wearing it in the spring here. It's a nice, you know, being that blend of fibers, and it's knit at a pretty loose gauge. It'll be a good transitional sweater for spring or fall. So that's that. I knit on it's either one of two needles. I usually knit on either a Knit Picks wooden needle or the Chiagu metal ones. So those are primarily aluminum. Sometimes the smaller sizes in the shorties are, I think, stainless steel. But I knit on the wood ones if I'm knitting like a slipperier fiber. So this was a very slippery fiber, so I chose the wooden needles, and it made a world of difference. You'd be amazed. So that's that. Okay, that's it for whips. Let's go on to the flashback segment. So like I said, this is a segment that we're going to use to go over old whips of mine, or sorry, old FOs of mine that have been finished in the past. So the first one that came to mind was my beautiful Pear Blossom Shawlette. This is knit in Fiber for the People, single ply merino, in the colorway Atlas. Oh, Atlas. Oh my good gosh. This yarn, if I could knit with one single colorway for the rest of my life, it would be Atlas. It's just stunning. It's variegated, it's speckled. It was a dream to knit up. I've actually done 2 different projects in this colorway in 2 separate yarns. I would continue to knit more. I cannot say enough good things about this yarn, this colorway, that dyer. Love it. This was a very special yarn for me. I purchased this when I was really starting to throw myself back into my knitting, and it was a splurge because it's coming from the States, so I'm paying in US dollars, and our exchange rate in Canada is not good. It's getting worse by the day. And the shipping and stuff is just, it was a splurge, but well worth it. Would do it again, have done it again. And this pattern is by Yarnia Designs. It's when you buy the pattern, you get two patterns. You get the shawlette version, which is a 1 skein, and then you get the full size shawl, which is 2 skein shawl. This is the smaller one, and as you can see, like, it did block out to a fair size. It's absolutely my favorite type of shawl design, whether it's knit from the corner or from the top down. That doesn't make any difference to me, but I love shawls that have, you know, some mindless garter sections, and then it's got this beautiful eyelet. Man, I need to knit some more eyelets. Beautiful. And then this stunning lace. That's totally my jam. And then the other thing that's really nice, and golly, why doesn't every designer do this? It has this I-cord edging along the whole shawl that is knit along the way at the end of every row. Just so good. I am not one of those cool people that looks awesome with their shawl all bunched up like this. I'm just me. But you get the picture. I don't want to give you a bunch of muffle on my microphone there, but that's the Pear Blossom shawlette. And like I said, that I-cord edging is probably my biggest takeaway from this project. I would add that to any shawl I was knitting if it was appropriate, because it just gives such a nice polished edging. And then it did use an I-cord bind off as well, so it goes, you know, it really just ties the whole thing together. So that's that. Oh, I should say that is a paid for pattern. I believe that designer does do sales from time to time. Don't quote me on that, but it's worth paying the full price. It's a beautiful pattern, and you do get the pattern for both sizes included. Okay, so almost finally, we're going to go into project planning. So today I'm going to talk to you about the thought process that I put in behind choosing my yarns and getting everything ready for the night shift shawl, which is a mosaic colorwork pattern by Andrew Mowry. So I have just cast this on, but I'm not really into it yet, so I wouldn't call it technically it's a whip, but I'm not into the zone yet. So I'm knitting it out of Cascade Yarns 220 Superwash Wave, and I picked 6 different colors. They are not necessarily complementary tones. I don't think that makes or breaks this project. It's kind of a bit of a carpet bag shawl, but it's going to be so squishy and warm. And I showed my husband a picture of it, and I said, well, this is because sometimes he has a hard time wrapping his head around what the things I'm knitting and what they're going to look like. And so I was describing it to him, and then I showed him the picture, and he goes, oh, that's striking. So I think he's looking forward to me finishing it as well. So this is kind of a dupe for the yarn that's called for in the pattern. The color does shift as you work your way through the skein or through the ball. So you might start out, you know, with this lighter blue on blue, and then colors get spun, new tones get spun as you go. So then there's maybe a bit of a darker blue, and then the darkest blue. And so even though you might be knitting with the same yarn, it's going to shift color. So that's really cool. I like that effect. So yeah, that's a dupe for the spin cycle. Yeah, spin cycle is spendy for anybody in Canada. Ooh, So the thing about this is you think, okay, we'll just pick 6 colors. Let's throw them all together. I'll just number them all, what A through F or whatever this 6th letter is, and just give her. Well, not necessarily. The ones that I chose, I ended up with 2 greens, 2 purples, a blue, and a tan kind of color. So because I had 2 greens and 2 purples, they're slightly different, but not super different. This meant I had to be a little bit more intentional with how I put things together. So what I did is I looked at the pattern and, hold on. I looked at the pattern and I found that there were, sorry about that. Hopefully you didn't see too much there. I found that there were common combinations. So I wrote those all down, A plus B, A plus C, whatever it is. And then I allocated a letter to each color that I had. And then I held each combination up beside each other to make sure that there weren't going to be 2 together that were too similar. Wasn't sure it was going to work out that way. Thought I might have to buy a different color. Didn't. Woohoo! So, I ended up, this is something I do for anything that involves different colors, like more than 2 different colors, say, is I just take an index card. For this one, I only had 6 colors, so I just took a half an index card, use a hole punch, write the color down beside it, the color letter or the color number. And then I just take a little scrap of the yarn and tie it around through the hole. So you can see that my color A is this kind of browny tan, and the color B is more of a green, and the color C is kind of getting into those purples. And on from there. So it took a little bit of extra time to prep that, but it's going to be so worth it in the end, because I'm not going to have, this green butted up against this green anywhere in the pattern. They are slightly different, but not different enough that they would really show the pattern properly. So yeah, I hope that is helpful to somebody to know the thought and the process that I put into that, because we do put a lot of time and effort into these things, and of course we want them to turn out to our expectations, right? So yeah, I will go through more stuff like that, project planning, I want to knit this sweater. Let's look at a couple different yarn options that we might have. And that kind of bleeds into my next segment, which is the stash pleasure. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, this might take on more of a shop my stash if I do have some project planning that I need to do. Today, it's going to be more of the consumerist side of things. So I'm going to show you a few of the yarns that have come through my doors recently. Okay, so first of all, I put in an order a couple weeks ago for a couple different yarns from the Knitting Loft in Toronto. And Toronto is quite far away from me, but they have a great selection of yarns. So I went in there that we do now online, and I picked out a couple yarns. The first was the Camarose Tinned Le Mold. It is 50% camel and 50% llama. Camel's something else I like to knit with, but this one in particular is llama, and 50% virgin wool. It is a single ply, light fingering. I love this color. Ooh, so pretty. It's just a nice warm rose with a little bit, it's almost like a rosy coral. It's beautiful, and it's got, I don't know if you can see that halo that it has. Oh yeah, look over here. Anyways, I got enough here, plenty to make a really nice shawl. So someday that'll get cast. Oh, the colorway is Varm Rosa 5012. And looks like this is a product of Peru. Peruvian yarn. I love it. And then the other thing that I ordered at that time was some Mondim. So this is Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim in the colorway 110. Again, it's a nice, this one's more of a muted, dusty rose blush color. As you can tell, I have pretty light white skin, so I have to make sure that if I'm going to choose more of a blush color, well, I don't have to. I can wear whatever I want, but if I'm going to choose a blush color, I like to choose something with a little bit more warmth in it. So I got enough of this. I've got four skeins? I thought I had 5. Anyways, I bought enough so that I can net the Paloma. So I have some mohair on the way as well that I'm hoping is going to pair nicely with this, and in a very similar colorway for that sweater. It is a really, I mean, it's a woolly yarn, but it's by no means scratchy to me, and I am a bit of a yarn snob that way, hence Hedoknits being the name. I really like things that feel decadent. Like I love silks, I love cashmere. Yeah, so this is a nice, you know, for not being a superwash or a merino, it is a nice wool. So that was my order from the Knitting Loft. I also recently went into my local yarn store, so that's the Naked Sheep in Regina, and I picked up a couple of skeins of Dye for You. This is a Canadian dyer, and when I saw this, I had to get it because it is a neon speckle. All different colors, and the colorway is called Kapow. I love it. I got 2 skeins of this, so that could be, you know, a fingering weight t-shirt for me, or I could make a shawl. It's just gonna go into stash for now. But this is their snug fingering base, and it's one of those, hopefully you can see it, it's a multi-ply. I don't know if that'd be an 8-ply, but it's one of those really cushy round multi-plied bases. And look at that, there's even some kind of ochre, darker, it's beautiful. So I picked that up. And then months ago, I had put in a sweaters quantity order through Fiber for the People. I'm subscribed to her email newsletter, and she had sent out an email newsletter saying that you could order sweaters quantity at a discount. So I did. And I ended up going with, I'm just sorry, I trailed off a bit there. I might have also used a different discount, but I always try to, I mean, of course I want these people to make money, but I like to be as frugal as I can too and save money where I can. So I try to get a discount if I can, when I can. And it might have been a different newsletter discount, but regardless. I used to have a teacher in elementary school, and she said irregardless all the time, and it used to drive us crazy. So kind of an inside joke. Anyways, I ended up going with this match head colorway for one of them. This is in 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, DK base. Again, this is match head from Fiber for the People. And it is this gorgeous light blue base with oranges and yellows, berry, red, burgundy speckle. You know, the blue could be a bit twee, but the speckle really gives it a bit more elegance, I would say. So I got 3 skeins of that. It's 246 yards a skein, so that will do me like a t-shirt style shirt, and being that it is an MCN, it'll be a nice way to use that. The other thing I did was purchased a sweater quantity of her superwash BFL, blue-faced Leicester, and This is the Carnival Barker colorway. Now this is, I wouldn't say this is typical of what the Carnival Barker colorway usually looks like from what I've seen. It's still gorgeous. Usually there's a bit more light, but because the Superwash BFL has more of a creamy background to begin with, it came out this way. And again, not mad at it. It's beautiful. It's got all these, you know, neutrally colors, but they just really shine in here. There's red, green, brown, you name it, it's in here. And I wish you had Squish-O-Vision because this is so squishy and soft, and I can't wait to knit it up. I think I have something planned for this already. If you check out my queue on Ravelry, my username on Ravelry is actingcrazy. I've been a member of Ravelry since probably pretty much when it started. And at the time I was an actor. So that's my Ravelry username, actingcrazy. And then my Instagram username is Hedoknits. So it's Hedo knits. So yeah, if you check out my queue on Ravelry, you might see what I have planned for this already. So yeah, that's what I've got for stash enhancement. And that brings me to the end of what I had planned to speak to you about today. Thanks for watching if you made it all the way to the end. I hope to see you again soon. I really love talking about knitting. I love talking about yarn. If you have any questions for me, fire away. If you don't, that's great too. Give me a like on the video. Love to have you subscribe so we can talk to each other and build a relationship together. And then we can be knitting buddies.